There are a few different ways to add text to your document. First, make sure you're in the text tool, and if you're not, you can either click on the icon on the toolbar or simply press the letter T on your keyboard. And notice that I am in a layer with an image. That's okay. And I want to check my options at the top. I'm not quite sure which font I'm going to go with, so I'll leave it at what is there. Same thing with the size. But I do know that I don't want a black color because I'm going with a black background. So I'll click that color box and choose a white and OK. And the first way I'm going to show you is just to the click and type way. Just simply click where you want to start your text and begin typing. Now, the only problem with this way of doing it is that instead of having word wrap, instead of being able to confine your text to a certain area, the text will keep going. So I can keep typing and it will go off the image area. So I would have to actually hit return on the keyboard to bring it down to the next line. So once you have your text on your document or on your canvas, there are a few different ways to manipulate that text and make some changes. First, of course, if you want to change the color, you can select your text and simply choose another color. If you want to change the font while your text is selected, you can come over here to any of the other fonts and make that selection. Same with the size. You can either click the drop down, or if your size, the size that you would like is not here, you can simply click on the letter T to the left of that drop down and click and hold and just drag left or right. The drop down here pertains to how crisp, how sharp you want your text to be. And this is more important when you're going to be printing out your document. I suggest that you stay with either the crisp or the sharp and just leave it at that. We'll get into that a little bit later when we're talking about printing. So another way of making changes in your text is to actually be out of the text tool. And if I'll click on the move tool, you'll see with my text layer, and while I'm talking about that, notice that I did not create that layer myself. Photoshop inserted that layer for me, and it is now titled with the first few words of the text that I typed. So I have that layer selected. And now I can move this around. I can Command T for transform, or Control T if you're on the PC. And I can make adjustments this way. And of course, you always want to hold Shift to keep your image or text that you're transforming in proportion. And when I get back into the text tool, it asks me, do I want to apply? Yes, I do. And you'll notice that now my font size has changed. Still, another way is to make sure that you're in the text tool this time and you're in the text layer, but you have not selected anything here. You can hit enter. And once you hit enter, your font selection is selected. So if you hit the down key now, or the down arrow on your keyboard, the font has changed up here, and you see what it will look like here. So you can just simply scroll through your fonts until you find the one you like. Or if you know which one you want to try, let's say I want to try Helvetica, I'll type in the first few letters of that font, and notice the font has now changed up here to Helvetica, but it has not changed here. So what I need to do is hit enter, not return, but enter, and it changes. Now to get back up to the font, I can just hit return, and I'm back up there to the font selection, and I can begin scrolling again if that is not the one that I would like to use. So that's just a quick, easy way of making changes and figuring out which font it is that you would like to have there. If you just want to change one word, then of course in your text tool again, you just double click on one word and you can make your changes there. Let's see if I want to make that white, for instance. And then lastly, while you're in your text tool, if there are other things that you want to change that do not appear in the options up at the top, if you click this little icon, it will bring up your character panel. So I can click that, and here is my character panel and my paragraph. Character, click the paragraph tab, back to character, and you have all your different options such as bold, uppercase, and lowercase. Show you an example of that. Underline, and of course you can go over to paragraph and set your options there as well. So that is one way of entering text on your canvas.